The same band that played Vindu Vichenjanga. Things are changing. That's a hit song, and we'll continue enjoying more music from that. Now we'll continue the news review with Senator Beatrice Elachi, Rosa Bui, Deputy Organizing Secretary, ODM, and Cynthia Mutere, a governance practitioner. Now I want us to talk about the doctor strike, because where we are now, there seems to be no end in sight. Yesterday, the Labour, which court is this? The Labour Court, an industrial court, issued an order that the nurses and doctors should return to work. The unions representing both sets of workers said no, they're not going back to work. The doctors union again had a meeting with the Labour CS, Phyllis Kandie. After that, they said still no deal. Don't you think it is time that we take this talks a notch higher? That probably we need someone much higher to take over these talks. The CSs have failed, the governors have failed, the courts have failed. What next?
The government should not use the divide and rule. I believe it was on Sunday that, I think it was this media house that treated us over the lunch hour to the media briefing that was going on, I think, with the CES and the negotiating team. And why I say divide and rule, because the negotiating table did not have all the stakeholders on the table, I think, and then they started saying...
You're talking about the nurses, the deal that was signed on Sunday?
Yes, and the Secretary General was not present, and I mean, some of them were saying he's not going to hold 40 million Kenyans at ransom, and therefore, I think when you don't have all stakeholders on the table, those are the results. When you go ahead and push your agenda once again without really bringing everyone on the table. They should have made sure that all the legitimate representatives of the Labour Union were at the table, and that they were able to speak on behalf of the nurses and the doctors. I think they had their AGM and they came together and resolved that issue. But still, now we need to, that's taken us now a week back, and because people are dying. Each day,
it is a matter of life and death. Unlike the teachers' strike, where you can stay a week, 2 weeks with children at home, when there are no nurses or doctors in hospitals, it is a matter of life and death. And now it's a week plus. This is actually, it's a week and a half since the strike started. The CSs, two of them, Labour CS, Health CS, we've seen, they've tried, they have failed. At what point will we keep waiting for them to actually come up with something? Shouldn't someone much higher, shouldn't a higher authority than them actually come into play?
You know, when in the past, all the strikes that we've had, or demonstrations, we've always seen the government trying to use divide and rule, like she has put it, and using threats and intimidation, and then people go back to work without resolving whatever it is, the issues that brought them to demonstrate in the first place. But I think the doctors seem to think that they have a genuine cause or genuine grievance, and they have a resolve that until that CBA is effected, they are actually not going back to work. And last week we talked about the CBA and the 3 years up to today that has seen the doctors actually go on the streets and refuse to go to work. And I think the government has to take that seriously. For me, I believe in a cause. If the doctors really think that they have a cause that they believe in, I think they just need to stick it out, instead of going back to work on flimsy offerings, and then after a month or two, they go back to the streets. If they really believe that they've been shortchanged, and if they really believe that they need their conditions bettered, and they can only be bettered through CBA, I think the government now must come to the table, because they've shown that they have a resolve and they're not going to go back until they are talked to, not through intimidation or through divide and rule, but through genuine talks.
Yes, Senator, of course the President has been quoted on at least 2 occasions saying that the talks are still going on, and it would have been worse if they are not talking. But we understand that all the talks that were there so far have failed. No more talks as it is right now. Don't you think it is time that the President just takes up this matter by himself and talks to the unionists?
One, let us not forget the Constitution has devolved health. And therefore, as much as even the President will call the unions, he will have to sit still with the governors to agree on the package. So it's not just something that the President can order, it's a devolved function, and what they need to do is to sit all of them in that meeting so that whatever they agree.
A meeting chaired by the president?
He chairs the meeting.
Okay, so you do agree the president should take it over,
but in the end,
invite all the stakeholders?
But in the end, it is the governors who will agree. If they refuse, then the president has nothing to do. Yes, that is how I have always been saying. The moment the function, I'm not excusing. I'm not excusing the executive.
There's nothing he can do.
I am not excusing the executive.
Answer to him directly.
Fred, the law in Kenya is very clear. So which law will the president be using?
When the bought equipment for this governor and force the governor to take the equipment, the governor took them.
Because we've seen previously.
Because if it was teachers, that's not a devolved function.
If we could make a comparison, we've seen previously when teachers strike persists for too long, he can actually invite the union leaders to State House.
Because it's not a devolved function.
And even after that, even if the issues have not been resolved because the talks are not being conducted in State House, at least the crisis comes to an end, because it is a matter of life and death, and we cannot continue saying that it's up to the governors who have failed so far.
And Fred, I have not said it's up to. I have said he will be willing, he can sit, but in the end, every county must agree. That's why the Constitution says the counties are dynamic, and the counties have a right. Each county right now has a right to sit down and look at its county and say, we will need to resolve this. If we want, we can sign with the union as county. What we want to ensure, and I think I'm hoping all the governors will wish to ensure, that you don't now find every county having its own package, that we have a package that is unified, that from every county it's the same. Yes. I think that is why they are negotiating together. But you know, the Constitution also gives them that right to say, if I feel this function I'm unable as County X to perform, I have a right to go back to the national government, have an agreement on how we can work within this function or share the function and sign. The Constitution gives that right to every county. That is why the Constitution was clear that you do not devolve everything lump sumly to every county. A county can negotiate for a function, and that function will be given to that county. Did you, for example, find it curious that the president steered clear of this matter on his Jamhuri Day speech, that he did not even give a sentence on the health
He doesn't
crisis?
think it's as important as ICC, period. And I want to say that despite the fact that the health function was devolved, we actually saw the executive come up, order for equipment, and force the devolved governments or devolved units to actually take those equipments. Wasn't health already involved at that particular time? And yet the executive took the initiative to buy those equipments for the devolved government. So why is it that now, when the nurses are on strike and Kenyans are dying, the very same executive cannot step up?
About the
why does it now sort of leave it?
Yes.
I think when
I'd ask you a question.
I think when the CS is there, already the executive is there. That is one.
But they should do more. That is what we are saying on ground this table.
No county was forced to take equipment. I think every county has a negotiated package of how they have agreed, and they have signed an MOU between the national government, and that is why every county has received the equipment differently, at a very different period, at different times. Why? When they have agreed is when they sign and take the equipment. So it was nothing forced, and it is not, we are not forcing it for counties.
Yes.
This was for Kenya.
I had asked you a question. I had asked you a question about his speech.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I will be very honest to you. I think he looked and he realized we are still in negotiations. It will be wrong for me to give a speech when I know we have not agreed and finished with the doctors. And I think it was right. Because if you come in and lie to Kenyans, and you can see this is life we are talking about. But likewise, and I have said many times here.
Likewise, we are still in the process of discussing whether ICC, we should pull out of ICC or not. So why does he think that he has the authority at that particular time to now say we are pulling out of ICC.
Rosa, I don't want
saw the doctors holding placards that were written, treat this issue as you treat tenders. I think we need to hear Treasury on this. We saw the chairman from the Council of Governors, Governor Angwai, who's the chairman of health, even address the issue. And I think his hands are tied because of the way national government is actually devolving finances to the county governments. And that was an initiative really that we had said, let's come as Kenyans and talk about it. And that was the Okoa Kenya initiative. And I think we are coming back to this when we see such crises.
Sylvia, we are women here.
We are women here speaking about women dying. We are women here talking about the Kenyans that are dying. We are women here who are concerned mothers, who are concerned about what is happening with the health sector. So as women here, we are saying
what
so
I'm
the
saying,
president
we need to hear
I
from
don't
Treasury
want to play the politics.
Yes.
I want to understand one thing, that indeed Milo has reached a point. It is not the issue of money. It is the issue of raising their salaries. So the money, the issue of money from Treasury is devolved as it is supposed to. Because even us in the Senate, we have made sure, and I want the county governments that are complaining, you come out here and tell Kenyans, Treasury is holding this. Today, a county like Makueni is one of the best counties that has its own money accumulative to nearly 3 billion in their account, so they cannot. I'm just giving an example, and I salute Governor of Makueni, because he's among the very few governors whom today, if he leaves office, you'll still find resources to use. And therefore the issue is not money, how it's being released. I think
the last time
from
he was accused of having not used resources and it was returned to Treasury. Is that
no
what
money,
wants?
and that is why it is important for all of us to understand this devolves functions. No money of counties, no money, Fred, of counties is ever held by the national government, because they have their accounts. You collect local revenue, you deposit yourself, the budget, the controller of budget gives you the right to withdraw what you want. So the issue is not the money.
So what are you applauding? A governor who takes money in the account and does not use it to better the lives of the people?
As it is, ladies, the doctors and nurses strike persists. On day, I think, 8 of the strike, the nurses and doctors unions have rejected a court order, have defied a court order to return to work. They met the CS for Labor yesterday, the doctors union. They say still no results. The nurses agreement that was signed on Sunday was rejected the following day by the union. So as it is right now, the strike continues.
And people continue to die.
Let's move on to another. Let's move on to another headline. And Uhuru Kenyatta is heading to Western Kenya.
Governments, they must manage this.
President Uhuru Kenyatta begins a 2-day tour of Western Kenya tomorrow. And among the things that he will do is he will switch on Webuye Pan Paper Mills. Then he will issue some title deeds to squatters on Chepuk settlement and launch road construction projects. But he will also be in Bungoma, at the Bungoma County Referral Hospital to commission medical equipment, including dialysis, MRI and digital X-ray machines, even if doctors will not be there.
Well, yes, I think for this tour, what I'm really interested in seeing, and there was something going on in the social media which really made a lot of sense, trying to compare the president's visit or tours in Central Province and to Rift Valley, comparing them to the president's visits and tours to Western Province, to Coast Province, to Nyanza Province, and just seeing what comes out of it. And it's so clear that when he goes to Central Province and he goes to Rift Valley, he does things and commissions things that actually better the lives of the people there. But when he goes to the opposition strongholds, he sort of just talks politics and PR and doesn't really give meaningful.
But he is going to switch on Webuye Pan Paper Mills.
And that is what I'm saying. This is what is being said, and I'm just interested in seeing if this actually happens, so that when he goes to Western, which is a sugar growing county or region, I'd like to see him addressing real issues that are affecting the people of Western Province. For example? Issues that can actually better their lives. I know that in most of these sugar growing regions, they are dogged with problems of loans that had been taken by AFC. They just can't make ends meet, despite the fact that they put all their energy and effort in growing the sugar cane. But when it comes to these other areas, if you have debts, he writes off those debts. And when somebody writes off those debts, they give you a clean opportunity to start again. So I'd like to see exactly.
Are you
what
proposing that
it's going to do.
you should write off some debts for sugarcane farmers?
Whatever it is that's going to give these people a better opportunity to grow their sugar and make a living out of that sugarcane growing. That is what I'm looking at.
Well, one thing I can say is welcome to Western. I mean, he's the president of the nation, and so we welcome him to Western Kenya. But really, this is once again missed opportunity for the Jubilee government. They should have highlighted one of their key manifestos, Uchumi, have done absolutely nothing. We have seen them just watch major companies and conglomerates just go down. Pan paper, really media, you should have come and just done a documentary to just look at the facility, the physical facility, and really, will it gain any results for the people? It is really something that is completely run down. But we applaud his efforts. If he can revive it, yes. But now, what are the long-term gains for the people of Western region? And really, not talking only of Western, but Uchumi in this country. We have seen companies like Yana Tires that have completely closed down because of operation costs here. We have seen what? Eveready Batteries, because of counterfeits that the government cannot control. Government has done absolutely nothing for the economy, and really this is something that he should have taken some time to even speak about in his speech, but now he's coming to commission Pan paper and really even coming to just take a quick span of the physical facility of that place.
Well, to be fair to the president, we're not saying that he's not going to do a lot more than has been listed in this story. This is just some of the things. He's going to switch on with Webuye Pan paper mills. He's going to issue title deeds to support the Chief settlement and launch road construction projects, as well as commission medical equipment at the County Referral Hospital of Bungoma. He could do a lot more than this, Senator.
He will do a lot more than that, but first of all, Uchumi, I think when Eveready and all those went down, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta was not the president. Pan paper went down, Uhuru Muigai was not. And therefore, I salute him. Bring back Pan paper. When you look at Webuye today, I don't want to do a documentary. I do an eye documentary as I go home. As I look at it, the lives there went completely. So I'm hoping bringing up Pan paper will revive Webuye, will revive the lives of many who that was their livelihood. That's the most important thing. As we move on as a country, and I know the president will talk about Mumias in Kakamega. We will see what he will say. He will go to Busia. He will officially launch the Agricultural Finance Corporation and many other projects. The most important thing, where Kenyans, for us and Kenyans where we are today, is Kenyans are looking at what is best for me down there. And that is one thing, even as politicians, when we are going to campaign, what we are telling Kenyans, because it's not just the president, even me as I campaign, there's something I am telling Kenyans, I can do better. And therefore, for the president to even bring back Pan paper, which many of us would not have understood, first of all, how it went down, why it went down. When we talk of Mumias, and my brother Kidero here is moving, lavishing in money and doing everything, and he just brought down a full industry, and my sister here seated is not able to ask him when he's in ODM what really happened that you just brought Western.
But what about other perpetrators of economic crimes? How did Uchumi go down?
Can we start with that?
How did Yana Tires leave? How did Cadbury go to Egypt? How had about
Western province, where me I come,
and these perpetrators of economic crimes continue to
so I don't want to know about the economic crimes. I want to know in Western province where the livelihoods of my father, who is a father of sugarcane.
So Kidero brought your father down?
Yes.
How did Kidero bring your father down?
Ladies, allow me not to allow that discussion to go on, because the governor is not here to defend himself.
Really? Well, we really need to defend. We are reading things in papers. And we always read it in papers, Fred. We are not talking about something that is not. We are talking about papers, and it always comes in the paper.
Point noted. Senator, we're talking about President Uhuru Kenyatta beginning a two-day tour of Western region starting tomorrow, and locals should expect some goodies from the Jubilee administration. Let's move on now, and we want to wrap up this news review this morning with a headline about women. Now, larger numbers of females seeking elective seats in next year's election. That's on the page 10 of the Daily Nation. And they say insults by men will not deter us this time. Women seeking elective seats in next year's election have vowed they will not be cowed by insults from male opponents. They were speaking in Nairobi at a launch of a list of 5,000 women aspirants during a program funded by US Aid and UK Aid. Now these are these are NGOs, yes, the same ones that are being accused of funding, looking to actually determine the results of the next election. And they funded this program, 5,000 women aspirants. That's a good number.
That's a good number because
I'm actually sitting on a table with 3 female aspirants, all of you seeking elected seats, and this is indeed a good number. And they've actually noted that larger numbers of females will be running for governor, MP, and ward representatives next year.
And we've taken it down to the MCA. We really need this as the entry point into governance, the legislative body at the local level in the counties. And so we're encouraging as many women. We had a speaker at the function yesterday saying the more women that are coming out, it's the same idea where you have big money in elections, wins you big in elections. More women gets you more women elected.
Yes.
And so we're encouraging women to vie, not only go for to wait to be nominated, but to actually vie for these.
And you're the chair of the Women League in Fort Kenya. I see your deputy party leader here, Senator Boni Halwale, quoted as saying that CORD has resolved to give 50% of its nominations to women. How is that?
That is a strategy that we are encouraging
nomination
women.
to parliament and
party primaries. Party primaries.
But how can you guarantee
primaries. That? Women are being encouraged to run for elections, and where we will see that a strong woman can pass, there is something called negotiated democracy. Really, we've seen it in Busia County.
Are we looking forward to that? Because it's saying it's called not just Fort Kenya. That's
first and foremost, what I'd like to say about this is it's exciting in the sense that because most of these 5,000 women are actually going to vie at the MCA county level, county assembly level. And that is great for me because the evolution goes right up to the MCA or county level. And what this means is if you have more women elected in those areas or as MCAs or at ward levels, they will actually participate very strongly in the legislation that's going to affect the lives of the people in the various counties. And that's exciting for me because I know that when you put women in leadership, they actually are at the core of the lives of the people in terms of water, in terms of health, in terms of all the basic things that makes life better for their children and their families. So that is exciting for me. I'd also like to say that indeed it is true that a lot of women get discouraged because of insults and abuses and all the propaganda around them. And having women together and encouraging them right at the beginning makes them strong enough to go on and to know that those insults are just insults. The propaganda is just propaganda. They should stay their course and they should win this war. Because if you have more women elected, you actually have a better society.
50% nomination?
50%. We tried it as ODM the last time. For example, I'm sure that you know in 2013, I got the certificate to run on an ODM ticket for Kisumu West constituency. We did not have nominations at that particular point, and the party decided, bearing in mind that they were promoting women, and they wanted to see more women in parliament.
So more women could
actually
be handed certificates without necessarily
handed. No, you know, if you look at all these party constitutions, there are different ways of handing that certificate. You can either do it through election, okay, active election, or you can do it through other considerations, and that is in the party's constitution. And if we are going to be serious about this 2/3 gender rule, this is the place to start it, within political parties.
And at the primary level. In the party strongholds.
In the party strongholds. And I think it can work, and it must start with political parties.
Yes. Senator.
First of all, when you look at the 2013 elections, Fred, only 80 women were able to be elected as MCAs among the 1,250. You realize we had to nominate nearly 900 women, and the country came in really crying. And for me, as Rosa says, political parties must take the initiative to ensure we have women who are vying as MCAs, and they must win. And if we do that in the strongholds, they will win. And therefore, the affirmative action
is Jubilee
principle,
hoping to do the same in the strongholds?
Yes, it is doing. First of all, we want to ensure the 12 women we brought in in single party constituencies, we must ensure we regain those constituencies. That we have already started the strategy of how to do that. Then we must ensure we add more. That's why as we are coming in. But also at the MCA level, we must ensure this time round at least 350 to 400 across parties we have been able to bring in women, so that we reduce also the number of nominations and the cry that we've had in the country. Therefore, I'll plead to the country that if we want to reduce this thing of nominations, let us vote in women at the county level. And also governance will change. Women will take up the county governments differently, the way we have seen our male colleagues do in the county government. So for me, that 5,000 is an initiative that will help political parties so that they don't come out because one of the things political parties will always come out saying that we don't have women. Now we have the women. They cannot tell us there are no women. We have women in every party that is willing, and these women are willing to spend their hours in the party, and so the party cannot come. What the party should do is to ensure the fee that you're putting either for now membership, because I can see some of them are now, most parties are now bringing in a membership fee to identify aspirants. That one already, you'll find many women.
And just the last word for the country, when we elect more women, that means we will nominate fewer women. When you nominate fewer women, you actually save a lot of money that could have been used in paying salaries to these nominated women. So in the end, you're freeing a lot of money to go to developments like in the water area or in health areas. So the county has more money to spend in bettering the lives of the people. But if we do not elect enough women, the Constitution stipulates that the county assembly must not be composed of more than 2/3 of either gender. So you end up nominating more women. Like he says, we nominated 900 extra women. So then you have to pay salaries to all these women. The salaries are actually coming from the same money that is supposed to be used to develop the counties.
And we will see an increase in development, because even as the women are now charting out the agenda for the county, as they're more in the assembly, we're going to see budgets that are more sensitive to women issues, especially in farm implements, in agricultural outputs. I think the women will be able to speak to these issues, and we will begin to see devolution at work.
Thank you so much, Cynthia Mutere, governance practitioner, chair of the Women League in Fort Kenya, and also aspirant for Women Representative Busia County. Rosa Buyu, deputy organizing secretary ODM, also aspirant for the Women Representative for Kisumu County, and Beatrice Elachi, nominated senator, also aspiring member of parliament for Dagoretti North. Thank you so much for helping us look at the headlines this morning. Well, that is as far as it goes for the news review this morning, but remember, Power Breakfast is still not over. Joey Mudengi is on standby to talk to Ridhika Boys Band, Vindu Vichenjanga. She might learn a few things from there. Also remember, Cheche is coming right up after this. Hussein Mohammed sitting in for Udwa Kamimo. He'll be alongside Mutegi Njau and Charles Odhiambo having another discussion in a short while. But for me, my name is Fred Ndimuli. Good morning.